So, for consistency, I think the stream has started. There we go. 0 has showed up. So for consistency, I'll do another stream today. Today was a busy day, so I haven't had a lot of time to prepare, but I think last night, well, so if you've just seen the series, so I'm kind of in a in-between period now where I've just been soliciting feedback on what kind of content you want to see next. So if you want any specific category of content, you can let me know, send a super chat, or don't, and just you can just send that as a chat message. I will be picking up where I left off yesterday, which was I was working on a bug in this thing. Concurrent viewers 7. And actually last time I had an issue with audio, but I think when I booted up the computer this time, it had it also wasn't, the audio was not connected, but it looks like it's connected. It looked like it was connected. So if I'm on mute, I wonder if that's. I wonder if the chat is lagging. Sometimes if I don't have the window, a Firefox window on top, won't display stuff. Alright, here's the fixed UI. Hello, just don't have a lot to say. Okay, the chat function works. Alright, so I tried to actually replicate this bug fix. And then I was gonna maybe try and merge it in today, but then I had some doubts about the best way to implement it. So today I'll be kind of just reviewing the code. So I reviewed what I wrote, and I realized I should maybe even remove this entirely. I wanna try and do the bug fix, but I think there's probably a way to, so that the lower, the more general a function call is, the less complicated I think it should be. Because if I, this here might have some more bugs in it. Watching how I work. Yeah, it's I guess streaming is watching people stream it's an interesting way to kind of learn through osmosis. And recently I've been reflecting on it more as I think there's actually a pretty huge amount of value in it for the streamer, because there's a number of times when I'm doing something and someone in chat is like, hey, why don't you do it this way? I'm like, I did not know you could do that. And saves a lot of, sometimes people just have really smart suggestions. Okay, that was the only thing that changed. Yeah, so there might even be, so when I tested this on my other computer, the emoji looked a bit different. So it might even be maybe like multiple ways that the bug manifests. So let's see what that does. Does that? I'll have to think about a way to maybe make this faster. All right, there's the bug again. So removing that section brings the bug back. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. forgot what this function is. Send cell updates. I think it was in this. Yes. I can't promise any smart suggestions today. Your work with Linux and coding is way ahead of what I do. Yeah, I guess that's the great thing about being able to just observe and learn through osmosis. That's a lot of how I did it. You just go find someone who knows more about the topic than you, and you'll discover lots of new things. The train's mad about something. Probably this stream probably won't be that insightful, but oh, we got a super chat from Daniel Dyer, $1.99. Thank you very much. Going back to the list at the start of the stream, if you have any suggestions on the type of content you'd like to see, let me know. Game Dev Chat says, hopping on to say hi and good evening. Thanks. I guess it's here. It's quite. It's 10:41. So a bit past evening, but I guess if you're in California time, then would it be around 7? Hello, Robert. Animal Control stopped by and took the pigeon from you today. Are you serious about that? Utah, interesting. Utah is one of those. The landscape in Utah is quite beautiful. It's high up on my list. If I was gonna go like ideal places to go off grid, that would be Utah's one of the top ones. There's actually he had like 1 million subscribers. There was a famous desert traveler. He had a YouTube channel, and he was exploring all these like abandoned ruins and stuff, and walking out into nature. And he was he died in a car crash recently. It was very tragic. my city has an actual curing policy, where hopefully they'll do surgery on the bird and let it go once healed. Also have to use animals as training specimen for new vets trainees. Oh, okay. I guess that's kind of a good idea. Or not kind of. I'd say it is a good idea. I would, if I had a vet who was going to experiment on my, who was going to do something on my cat or my dear pet. It'd be good if they've got some experience and some, real life pigeons. Back again to Vim. I've been kind of switching back and forth. I guess I actually use both now. I've been so I'll just do the coding and then I'll go into this, and then because I guess actually what I'm specifically testing is I'm testing. There's a bug that only happens in the IntelliJ IDE when you run the game within the IDE, and it's kind of a random use case, but it is a bug in the game. What are you making? I'm working on a terminal-based block mining simulation game. So it's a game where you move around and mine blocks. You can find a number of examples in previous streams. I have a question. How would you code a JSON parser in C++? These days, I would try to not code a JSON parser in C or C++. That seems like a concept that would be like pretty much done to death these days. Honestly, that's using AI for coding is not something I've thought a lot about, but that's actually one task where I would almost think about maybe trying to do a vibe coding, ChatGPT thing. Just ask it like some, I guess you could go over broke and ask ChatGPT to generate the whole library for you, and then if that doesn't work, like if it complains, then ask it to write ask ChatGPT to write the code for a JSON serializer and deserializer that only supports integers. And then just like whatever it gives you, you can just take those examples, and then just like do the same thing for doubles and arrays and then maybe continue it on. And once you get the full parser, like if it doesn't compile and doesn't work, then I guess you can just re-ask ChatGPT or fix it up as needed. I use IBM punch cards to write my code. ASM is my favorite programming language. It is a pretty handy programming language. I actually have a bunch more of those punch cards. I should do some content on that. Do you see Rehab's video on you? There was a guy, Rehab Room or something. So people mentioned to me a few times that guy referenced something from. He referenced my How to Become a 37-Year-Old Broke Loser video. I don't know if did he make another video specifically about me, or like is he just referencing that one video? Backward compatibility. Write the unit tests and make ChatGPT do the rest. Yeah, I've never tried that, but like actually for a JSON parser or something, that's something I would actually consider maybe trying ChatGPT, because there's so many examples of that code that exists on the internet, but it's also the same kind of thing that you have to like think about. Like you got to be I don't know. I find you're gonna have your brain turned on to write a parser. For my game engine project, So I have a material JSON config, which has a material name, diffuse texture name, color, and I feel like the code I wrote is inefficient. I guess if you already have, so do you already have a parser? And you just want to make sure it's optimal? I guess ChatGPT could also be a good thing. You can paste the code in and say, what do you think about this? Why not use a library? Yeah, I would say library is the way to go. Would love to hear your response. I remember someone mentioned that a while ago, and I looked it up to see just how extensive it was. It seemed like it was just the topic was about a more general topic about difficulties in the world, and I don't know, something about I forget what the topic of the video was about, but I think his video was not specifically just about mine. It was just one. It seemed like he cited one example from my video. I'm going back to hard on node dependencies. Yeah, I think, I mean, I can't necessarily criticize that because I've done that a lot on stuff where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to rewrite this from scratch in my own image. And so I think sometimes you you have to get that out of your system. Like it's about just like you think you can do it better, and you want the exercise of like going through it to like build the the mental muscle. And then once you do it, like I'm pretty sure I've written a number of parsers from scratch, but at this point I'm like, I proved that I can. There's no point in doing that more. Well, I mean, if I did go back into doing parser stuff, I do think there is room for like better like parser generators and like meta compilers and stuff, but I need to fix the housing crisis first, and then I can write as many compilers as I want. I'm writing Game Engine also. Excellent. I hope we can support block mining simulation games. One of my first uses of ChatGPT was to take an obfuscated text, encode, decode JavaScript blob, and re-implement it in Python. It was a great way to send receive text with a modern hotspot thing. Yeah, it is those kinds of basic transformation, like almost like things where like you would Google it and then expect someone to have an example, like a short code snippet out there. ChatGPT is seems like it's a good candidate for that. Although I honestly have not used it, but if I had one of these use cases, I probably would start thinking about using it. Yeah, I think it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish, whether you let it do to include the dependencies or not. Robert, have you ever considered purchasing an RV or tiny home and living in like a farm or desolate area? Meet a bunch of buddies are starting to do that for freedom and stability reasons. I guess in terms of living, there's many considerations. I'd probably just go back to my parents' place for a bit and chill there for a while, and then if I get evicted or things, the question I ask myself is, why am I paying extra money for the premium of being here? Now there is some convenience. I could just walk down the street to the store and stuff like that. The whole reason to be up here was the proximity to other people. But I also find like I'm working all the time just to pay rent and bills and stuff. So I have no free time to like do the networking and stuff that I want to do, that I'm like here for in the first place. So it's kind of a dilemma, because if I go back to the parents' place, then there's not I don't have access to the network, and then I'll be like then I'll be thinking about moving either back up here or somewhere else, or I don't know. But then also the world has been changing so much, so it's not super clear where to go. At very least, my parents have some land, so I'd probably figure out something, on their land, because that way, it's just like I could have like a little box with where I have some permanent storage and some control over something, just like a home base. I'm hoping to break into the market with the video game project, but with all the layoffs, I'm losing hope. Yeah, I'm honestly not like even a game developer. So I'm not necessarily I don't have any really great advice, honestly. CURRENTOFFCT. Can't find symbol. What symbol? Current offset? Is it spelled wrong? What's going on? Current OFFCT. CURRENTOFFCT. Am I losing my mind? What's going on? Oh wait, I think it's this. That was kind of a. Why didn't it give me a better error message? Okay, so the code updated, but the compiler error messages are still the same. So this kind of, I gotta figure out how to make that like update immediately. So this is the whole reason I wanted to use this IDE. So I'm not like recompiling 10,000 times. So I guess we'll see what this gives us. My point of view is that parents aren't going to be around forever, and it's easier to make your own food, build your own house, etc., and to participate in the cutthroat job market. Traffic. Yeah, it's the whole, like the rat race is becoming. I mean, it's just been since COVID. Like the math on the rat race. Like some people would claim that it's like a. You're like lazy or something, or you're entitled, and you have an obligation to a duty to work these, be a responsible person. But especially here in Canada with the way housing is and the lack of wage growth and stuff like that, it almost doesn't even pencil out. But yeah, I'm probably my parents have some land, so I'm probably if I need to bail, that'll I already gave them some back when I was making a bit more money. We had worked on setting up something. I did have a long-term visions of like set up something back in New Brunswick. So if I have to bail from here, then I would have somewhere to go to. But that's not quite well enough funded. So I have basically like a shed back there. But it's not something you can live in. So the original idea was like I would build this basically thing that I can, it's almost like a garage kind of thing, and I could store stuff in it if I needed. And then long term would be I'd have lots of money, and then I can build like a house or something back there. But that's not that has not come to fruition yet. It's just not enough financing. Ideally, I'd buy a house, rent it out, make a subdivision area for an AUD, which my city has recently allowed. An AUD is like an auxiliary dwelling, which is under a certain square footage. Yeah, if you're clever about all the rules and regulations for building, then I think it's like the category of tiny homes and stuff like that. Is Y offset defined? That's a good question. This error message is stupid. Why is it not? Okay, that's run, build. It's one of the okay. You got it. Y offset. Whoa. I don't know where my delete key is. I can't see the keyboard. Delete. I should fix all those. Oh, I got a lot of those. My mother is always in debt, and father is diagnosed clinically insane. I also have no other surviving family members, really. That's too bad. Inflation destroys the future. Makes long-term planning frustrating. Yeah, and not only that, but like so many government policies and stuff have changed everything, made everything. Everything is just like the immigration has changed. So many things up here, like just well, I mean, like in my immigration video, I mentioned like it just takes a long time to learn all the nuances of communicating with people and stuff. And I kind of learned that from some of that from people I went to school with, and then so we have a lot of people here from India now. So you learned a bit about Indian customs and stuff like that. But then every time, like it's every year, we seem to bring in a different culture. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of. What's your opinion on replacing the entire world leaders into cats? I think this is their world, and we are just living in it. Yeah, I guess. Replacing the entire world into cats. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in animes, all the characters are cats. There are no red squiggly lines for that simple error. I guess I had there was some errors in the run thing, but oh wait, do we have an error here? Not expected. Okay. Okay, that was because, that makes sense, because I changed how this works. Okay, that is, oh, that needs to be this. Yeah, I think that's right. Oh yeah. This guy with the anime references. I have to learn about anime because there's such a, like, I've never actually watched an anime, but there's so much overlap between like computer programming and anime interest, and I find you get bombarded with it on YouTube and stuff. Like there's that podcast, the Trash Taste podcast, where they talk about like anime and stuff, and YouTube always used to just spam that in my feed so much, even though I don't even know anything about a lot of the stuff they talk about. In Montreal, there are a lot of people from French-speaking African countries. I guess that's having language compatibilities. That's definitely a plus if people can like communicate and integrate. I think there's not enough consideration into like what is this the cost, like money cost of integrating someone, and if someone already speaks the local language, then it's just so much easier for them to integrate. Robert, will you stream if you have a comfortable living situation? How would that work out? That's a good question. Right now, this just seems I'm doing this because I guess the streaming, I don't know, it's questionable whether it's worth the time, but I find it's making a little bit of money, but it also it's part of like the larger arc of seems to be successful on social media. You have to do like all different facets. So you're gonna put it like videos and shorts, and then also have like streams, so people kind of want the whole package, and then all of that can feed into the kind of larger goals of while I'm streaming this, I'm streaming my block mining simulation game. Wait, did this run? Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. If I had a more comfortable living situation, I'd probably like in my view, the content production is a means to an end. I want to do the like technical, mathematical, engineering stuff. That's my interest. That's what why I went and got a degree in it. But just doing that on its own is not sufficient. You also need the marketing end of it, and that's kind of where the building up social media is the marketing end of it. Because without that, there's no way to get eyeballs on everything else I've done. So I would probably continue with this to that extent. I guess it would be ideally it'd be maybe good if I could scale this to the extent where it can generate enough revenue that I don't know, maybe I could hire some other people to make some content, or but I don't know. It all depends on the growth, and all depends on how much money there is behind it. Well, Dom implies world sub exists. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true. I'm ready for unhinged Robert. I'll do my best. Let's see. So if the character width is one character, So I'm advancing this too much. I think this needs to stay. I think I'm just saying, see, I plus 1 times, yeah. So this I would expect to, so for all the extra for the extra characters, it would put in a I think I already ran this. Let me just try that again, see if it, I don't think I changed anything, but I would think this works, but it doesn't. I wonder if someone will ask, what's static keyword in this stream? Maybe. Oh, okay, there it is. Not expected. Current offset is 37. So that implies that it's going off the end, like my stuff is not adding up. Just watch your video on immigration provided by the algorithm. Thanks for bringing to light the misconceptions, allowing to overgeneralize all of us. Much love from Bangladesh. Yes, I hope somebody in power can watch that video, or I think we definitely need to chill out on immigration, but I mean, in my view, like, we can do a much better job. Just pick like all of the, super smart, motivated people and bring them here. And then if people want to cause trouble, then they can stay wherever they are. Robert, you should PIL PID 0 on your brain, then rethink the error stack trace. Oh, you mean as a debugging method? I'm not sure that'll fix it for me. This should just work. It should be simple. So whatever the character width is, if it's the thing we're doing here is if it's larger, if it's wider than one column, then it's supposed to start at k equals 1, as long as k is less than the character width. At the current offset, which should be this. So this should basically be the same thing. But somehow it's not. I'm from Brazil, but I consume English language content a lot. Due to my work in the dev sector, I often struggle to understand the self-sabotaging policies Canada promotes and the media cheers. I think there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, some of it's kind of highlighted by my video. It's like just kind of ignorance. Like some, there's one big subset that's like anytime you say like, hey, let's have less immigration, and they'll be like, that's racist. But then also there's people who a lot of the people who make the decisions, they want the massive increase, and there's people who are like, oh no, like this is terrible, we need more immigration, but because they're making crazy money. Like housing prices basically doubled in a few years, and so that was an amazing bull market. And especially we have lots of problems with mortgage fraud and stuff like that in Canada, and so there's some unscrupulous landlords and probably other people that made a ton of money, and so they're like, they don't care how much damage it does. They want to get it. Like the more immigrants that come here, the more they can prop up the housing market, and that these people will make a lot of money. And I mean, there is a good case for like bringing in skilled immigration. They keep talking about that, but and it's especially historic. Like, well, I mean, the distribution is what I said it was in my video. Current offset equals plus equals character width. Otherwise, why is that not the same thing? How do I make a CPU? Just came from that video. All the details are in that video. I have some other videos on semiconductors, but they don't really get many views. I've got one on silicon. I think it might have been the audio was kind of a little bit bad at some parts of it, but yeah, you can check out my silicon video, and then I have some other ones on semiconductors that have like less than 10,000 views. guess I could do. So that also should be the same thing. When are we getting an AI version of Robert Elder software? I don't know. Yeah, I guess with all the streams, there's probably a sufficient amount of data. Do you have how are transistors made? It depends which kind of transistors you want. There's a lot of. Do you mean like the microscopic ones, like the individual transistors in CPUs, or like the more microscopic ones? Because I guess there's the standard PNP junction description with like some labels and stuff, but the actual physical shape of it is usually they're topologically very different. Robert, do you play any MUDs? I do not. Yeah, Robert will be cursed. May I shamelessly drop the Discord invite here? Sure, go for it. Yeah, for the Discord, I don't really check it. There hasn't been a ton of activity, I don't think, there recently, but I'll probably, not necessarily distance myself from it, but just say it's like, it can be your thing, and that way, and in the future, I don't know, maybe. I guess if the Discord gets active right now, it probably makes sense to just direct everyone to the Discord. But then, if there's like enough demand, then we can shard it off to a couple of Discords, or someone said like they want a Matrix server and stuff. So it's not it's too much work to think about it at the moment. Nice, that fixed the issue. But why does that work? The invite URL gets deleted automatically. Yeah, probably links probably get. You can probably there's like a hash ID. You can probably just I've seen people post that. Oh, you know what? That. So those two things, the thing that just worked versus this, so this I think doesn't work, but they should be the same. And it concerns me that they're not. I guess the only case that would be different is if character width can sometimes be 0. Okay, let me run this. Don't see a difference. Yeah, there can be a difference if character width can be 0. But in this context, I don't think that happens, but I'm going to change it. And so this I think will fail. I think this is what I just had. So we'll test this for failure. I'll have to go back into that edit configuration. So I think in the like before whatever, I think I can probably make a dependency on like a Maven thing, so that might speed up the compile time. Okay, so this fails as expected. So if greater than 0. We'll do that. So does this, I think that my expectation is that never happens, but we're gonna find out. If anything, I should start my YouTube channel. Robert, do you have any tips for me? Should I run my full name or pseudonym? Let's see, I missed your, we should start charging money for Discord access, and we'll post AI generated knockoff versions and NFTs of Robert in there. Yeah, that's exactly the thing that'll make me think, maybe I'll just distance myself from this. If you're planning on starting a YouTube channel, I would say you could just ease into it. You could, like, I know like a common thing people will do is they'll like start something like that, and then they post something and they get like a mean comment or something. They get kind of embarrassed about it, and then maybe they like, it depends how if you're, you know, like if you have lots of experience being you know, made fun of or dunked on, and if that bothers you a lot, then you might want to hold back a bit. But if you know, if you're used to if you're like mentally strong and able to deal with public criticism, then you could maybe just kind of go all in. But it might be good to just start off with like test the waters with stuff, do a pseudonym, and then don't show your face and stuff. And then once you get more comfortable with it, then you can do more. Looks like character widths equals zeros. Yes, exactly. So we learned something there. Yeah. So this was send cell updates in screen area. I forget what happens when I call this, where I call this function, but now the other thing I was going to check was, what if I do this? So I do, because technically I don't really want to send a character. I could just do null and then maybe 0, and then this would be nothing. I don't know if this was gonna. I was thinking of just putting it out there and having minimal interactions with public-facing channels, then having a semi-private Discord or just inviting to the current one. Having minimal interactions with public, and then having a semi-private. You mean like inviting commenters to the Discord, or are you going to be streaming as well? I guess you can do what you like. It kind of depends on what your long-term goals are. That's I think important to think about. Like, in my view, my YouTube channel is like what I started as is like it's under my business. It's all through my business. So it's the marketing input for my business, accomplishing my business objectives. Now, in your case, it sounds like maybe it's not necessarily your business, but like maybe you wanted to do a business, maybe you don't want to do a business, but you can think about the exact objectives. Okay, that might be working now. What content are you going to do? Got the stream about Robert planning on being unhinged. The stream, and I was just a bit stuck on that one. The stream or the video? I was thinking one for DIY projects, Handyman work first, then potentially another for my networking programming stuff. Yeah, you can do a couple channels. I think what can happen on some channels is like one channel just doesn't do well, and then it becomes it's a lot of work to check the analytics and comments and stuff like that. So you may and also like if the audience is similar, then it might be all better to do on one. But that's about figuring out like why do people watch the content? Because there's multiple reasons. Sometimes people want to know this stuff. Like the kind of core component is people want to get information from individuals that they relate to. So I mean, there's some for some of the broader reach videos I have, some people commented like, "Wow, I really like listening about this stuff, even though I don't know anything about programming or something." So people just like the way someone talks and explains, and someone so that can be a component of it. Someone said my video was like ASMR or something. So DIY and handyman stuff would require actually showing face though, and having my full name probably. Yeah, I would say, again, it depends what your objectives are. I think if you plan to, if the goal is to kind of grow eventually and get some compounding return out of it, I would say you should think about it as that you would have to be okay with publicly showing your face. In fact, in my opinion, the showing your face is probably like the number one thing that you could do to increase click-through rate. Specifically because like if you just think about it, let's say you go to a meetup and there's people there, and like, someone's walking up to you and saying like, hey, want to chat about something, like immediately you're gonna look at the person's face and think like, okay, is this who's this person? Is this person fun? Do they make me feel uncomfortable? Are they informative? Like, you're gonna immediately think back to every interaction you've ever had with that person in that face. And so in a lot of ways, I think your face becomes the more significant than the brand or your logo, because there's certain, like, from my experience, there's certain creators, as soon as I see their face in the thumbnail, I'm like, this is a good video, even if the topic is like kind of weird or something. And it's because when you see a person's face, you have an expectation about that person's behavior, and that's, I think, a pretty that's like one of the most significant things you can do to increase click-throughs on thumbnails. Yeah, but I mean, and like, if you want to play the YouTube game, you got to think about all these analytics things about like click-through rates, and then it also comes back to the question, like, what are you trying to accomplish with this? Because it's a lot of work to optimize thumbnails. Like, I changed the thumbnail test just before starting the stream, because I want to try and get the click-through rate a bit. Because if you can get up to the, just squeeze a little bit more, another % higher click-through rate results in a massive increase in the distribution of the video. Manage the indicator, or stoop down to short form content, because it attracts people. Yeah, you can. I mean, I think it's also valid to just like test the waters. Like, you like, do you like making videos? And if, like, I don't know if you've done a lot of editing and stuff before, but if you like the process of editing, then like, if you like kind of crafting the video as much as crafting the stuff, then it could make sense. But if you find you hate editing and you do like a few shorts and you're like, wow, that was so much work, and the shorts only got like 100 views, then they might say, yeah, that was a fun thing to try, but never again. Guess it was video. Yeah, the one in the forest. I'm crap at video editing. Yeah, if you want to make lots of YouTube videos, you will become good at editing. Stream in that case, at least there won't be any editing. I find like streaming, I think if you just start streaming, you probably have like almost no viewers. And what I've noticed is that if I have a video that's trending, like a lot of the people who come into the stream come from because I already have a video. I think I can't remember when I started my first stream, but I already had like, I think I was already approaching 100,000 subscribers when I started the first stream. Really bad at talking. Might have a speaking disorder at this point. Yeah, it's I mean, I guess it depends. I think my speech is kind of all over the place a little bit. I think there's like, no matter what kind of person you are, there's some audience for that. I know there's some people I've listened to where like their voice is just like incredibly annoying. So I don't know if you're what your voice is like. I mean, it's a lot of work. Like there's a ton of, so like I gotta like setting up a streaming setup with decent audio is quite a bit of work. Like I've got the pop filter here, and I got the mic boom and all these expensive cables and stuff, and I got the preamp, and like to set it up and to like research. It's a reasonable investment. I mean, you can't just use the microphone on your computer, but the audio quality is going to be bad. I don't think Ben Eder has showed his face. He is quite big. I think I've watched a couple of his videos, but I'd say most of them, most of the big channels, and like the channels I think about, and like when I think about, I know I've seen a couple of Ben Eder's videos, but when I think about him, I don't. Now that you mention it, I can't think about a face. Actually, there's someone. There was a person who I thought I saw in like a live stream or something, but it might have been him. Maybe someone different. But if you think about like another, like think about Linus Tech Tips, like you immediately think of his face, and assuming you've seen his channel, and then you can associate all these things with his face, and if you like see a meme with his face, you're like, oh okay, I know what this guy's all about and stuff like that. I posted a preview of something I was working on in the mechanics section in the Discord. Looking for feedback. All right, I'll go check it out. This VTuber has great rendering. Yep. I have a holistic mindset about programming. I don't hype new friends unless they provide nice solutions. To state management, Redux. Speech pathologist, if it becomes possible. Yeah, is that for me or for Brad? Did not expect Ben Eater to be mentioned here. There's a finite number of tech people on YouTube. Lockpicking lawyer doesn't show his face either. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a few exceptions, but honestly, I think they're uncommon. And I think like if they did a face reveal or they started like putting their face in videos, like after I think it's not the first video. It's like it's once you have a reputation with that person and you can identify them, be like, oh okay, that person's face. Okay, that did what I want, I think. So that's going to remove that. Now, is that going to break anything in the terminal version? Super windy out today. It dropped like 10 degrees after that thunderstorm that I got caught in. All right, that's pretty slow because it's running locally. Oh wow, we got a nice big super chat tonight. 5 cents, $20. Coffee, tea, World Domination Fund. Thank you very much. Do you have any vote on a specific type of content you'd like to see? I have a list at the start of the stream. Wow, we got another one. Cheers and drinks. Nice. We're up to CA $58. And we can see that it's expressing it in Canadian dollars at the moment, but it'll randomly change back to being in US dollars. Yeah, thanks guys. If you have a vote for the specific type of content you want to see more of, I'd be happy to hear it from my donators. All right, this looks like it's not broken. It's pretty slow though. I like how responsive it is though. I put a lot of work into making it so like the UI is totally separate. So like even though the world is lagging, at least you can move around and that's responsive. Let me see. That was in console. Now, there was some other stuff. I'm just going to look at it in here to see if I think that there's a whole bunch of edge cases in this thing when the character width is either 0 or greater than 1. Print text at screen XY. Yeah, that's another example, I think. I should update these functions as well, because those will have the same bug. Oh yeah, there was some kind of weird Unicode character that had zero length, zero width, I think. That was the whole reason for. Wrote a static site generator in Rust yesterday. That's pretty cool. Encoding is always a headache. Yeah, there was there's a whole bunch of like weird stuff in Unicode. Like there's weird types of characters that I find myself discovering, and it just like blows my mind because I totally did not understand, or I didn't know. Let me see. I want to go back and remember that because I remember I forgot exactly what it was. Joining us at Brad's not computer / Discord. Remember for 12 months. Oh wow. Time flies. Yeah, Brand has a Discord. I guess that's probably a probably like a URL redirect. Probably people probably feel safer if they just have like the hash. I think you can just give them the hash and they can do like discord.gg/whatever. Okay, I got another super chat from G-10 for $5. Thank you very much. And we're up to 65 Canadian rupees. Lots of modifiers that aren't glyphs. Yeah, there's I think I have a reference to it in here somewhere. I'm going to try to find. Yes, Bradley is an OG member. Let me think here. Yeah, split string Unicode aware. Let's see, where's the colored text fragment? Oh yes, this was it. Variation selectors. That was those weird things that I had a bug where a bunch of the characters it was so with I think it was with like mining pickaxes. There's like a mining pickaxe that's like it doesn't have like colors on it, and then there's another one that does, and and I couldn't figure out. It was like it's like a different font or something, but it was there was a variation selector, and the variation selector was getting corrupted because initially I did not have this. And I think that's one of those zero width characters. Robert, heading out for the night. Great work and thanks. yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. It's very generous of you. Let's see, I missed a couple. Have you ever been inside the Arctic Circle before? I have not, but I have spent a bit of time on browsing around the Google Maps, looking at all the settlements and stuff up there. I mean, it's a rough place to survive in. Surprisingly, the CSS making it look good was the hardest part. Nowadays, we have too many libraries for abstracting a lot of the stuff. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done much web dev. Earlier question, I enjoy your video essays, maybe a little more. But overall, I like the content. Yeah, I will try to keep doing the video essays. The problem is they're like to do them good, to do them the way I want them to be, rather than just like kind of rambling. Like there's lots of like rambling, low quality content out there. I don't want to put that out. I think the immigration one, that was probably one of the most difficult ones to cover. But there's a few other topics that I would like to cover that I think can be, can make a useful contribution to humanity maybe. That might be a bit shorter. I'd like to do one on actually talking about capitalism, because specifically, like if you want to write a program, the economics of like it would not specifically be about the economics of free software, but like you have to acknowledge some of the realities of capitalism and business to like build a society where you can actually have free software and open source stuff. That one I can probably cover, and it won't be like an hour-long one, but I wonder if I can live stream 360 video on YouTube. That would be fun. I have one of those special cameras. You probably can. That way you don't have to worry about framing. Framing is the easiest part. Yeah, I'd say I guess depends on what your goals are. I mean, if you the question would be like if you're doing it for fun, or if you're doing it if you want to make money off of it. Like if you're just doing it to like test the waters. If you're doing it to, like test the waters to try and find a reason to stop doing it, that might be a good way to start. Because you may start doing it and then be like, I don't like doing this at all. And then also, like I know there's a lot of people that will waste like a ton of money. Like video and content production is a lot of work and a lot of time. And some people, buy an expensive camera and a preamp and the top of the line microphone and stuff, and then they like do it once and like, wow, I hate this. So I guess you could, like with your existing video there, you can, if you've done some like editing and stuff on that, and you reflect and you enjoy that process, then maybe you can do more, because you will be doing a lot of editing if you're doing video. MK PhD uses phone camera on autofocus channel. Yeah, the newest phones are getting pretty advanced. But actually, when I was looking at a new phone, like new phones are crazy expensive now. Like a top of the line. How much is a new iPhone now? Maybe you need a cheap mic for outdoor recording. You can get a I would say getting audio correct and high quality is more difficult than video. And I would say it's not necessarily it's not about the money you spend, but you have to learn a lot of knowledge about what specific type of microphone to use in what context, and stuff like having the even the last video I published, the audio was a bit off because when the wind picked up, even though I had a mic, I had a wind muff on it. I'm not sure if it was if that wind muff was not thick enough. I do have a thicker one, but the thing is, the thicker one I think actually attenuates some of the higher frequencies, so it makes it more wind resistant, but it also affects the audio quality, so you're not getting the most pure audio. And then but it also might be because that stand was a little bit flimsy, so it might have been moving the stand, and the vibrations in the stand, because it's connected to the microphone, made some sound show up in the audio. And then also you have to think about the directional gain in it and stuff. I mean, you can get like simple lapel mics, but it's so easy to like go out and record a video and talk for an hour, and then you come in and find out like the mic was like grinding against something, and so the whole audio is just like, and it's like super hard in your ears. Robert, are you doing any sort of self-hosting? What do you mean in that context? Yeah, I would say if you I would say first of all, like decide what your goal is. Like what if let's say that you produce this content you're producing, or like the video and streaming, and it does exactly what you want. You get a lot of views and stuff. What does success look like? What is the kind of ideal outcome? And then you can start basically to consider it like an experiment. So you're trying to find a reason to abandon this practice and put your time elsewhere. And so you can just like start off low fidelity. Don't spend any more money on like just use a crappy phone camera. And then if you do a few crappy phone camera videos and like you think like, wow, I really like spending, I like spending 1 hour to record a video and then like multiple hours to edit it and put in like keyframe transitions and stuff. And if you like doing that, then you can kind of just keep doubling down on it. But I think a very common thing would be you do a bit of it and it doesn't get you don't get the views you wanted. I mean, it's also hard to grow a channel from scratch too. So when you first post a video, like you'll probably be lucky to get like a couple views a day or something, because I think the algorithm, like there's tons of people creating channels, and some of them are like spam and stuff. So YouTube needs a way to figure out that you're not just spamming. And then you also have to think about like the video has to be like if you're just doing DIY videos, you'd probably have to post like maybe hundreds. Like it depends if it's a very specific niche concept about like a DIY, I'm trying to think about like a comment like a DIY doorknob installation. There's one video on YouTube that's the best video on like how to put a doorknob in. And so if no one has done that video, you could do that video and then you will get number one, and you could get like 1 million views on that video. But if like 100 people have done that video, if you have the second best video, you might even only get 1,000 views. Looks like we are in a post-capitalist world. Moreover, I'm not sure if space age civilization will be called capitalist. Maybe anarchical, laissez-faire, or whatever. Yeah, I have a lot of detailed thoughts about capitalism. That's why I thought I should make a video talking about it. Because in my opinion, I think a lot of people get it wrong. They're just like, capitalism bad. Space age represent technological progress, not how economy works. We're still pretty much in a capitalist world, at least in the United States. Go to the community, find knowledgeable people, I suppose. The DIY stuff is full of easily convertible to short form garbage content. I could do clickbait, Reddit-esque, conversation overlay TTS content too, but I don't want to steep that low. Ideally, content I produce would be valuable enough for people to watch in its entirety. Yeah, I would say one expectation is like when you do like, you know, a business entrepreneurial venture like this, you have an idea. Like at least I had an idea for, especially the consulting is a perfect example. If you watched all my consulting videos, I had an idea in my mind about what I thought the customer would look like. But then when I got out and I started doing this and started exploring more, I came to learn more about, like, you know, the craft, but also like the distribution and demographics, and like how many people there are who are my target market, and what my target market behave like. And I find like especially when I started making YouTube videos, I had a certain idea of like who would watch these videos, but then the more views I got, the more audience I got. Like I have a pretty good idea now about like you know, what kind of content or stuff would appeal to things, like what type of person is on the other side of the computer screen. I have some decent idea of like the kind of cohorts and groups, and so I guess if you're doing it more for like the community aspect, you should acknowledge that when you make a video, you may be thinking, oh, a certain type of person is going to watch this video, but it may be a totally different type of person. So you may find yourself surprised, like, oh, why are these people watching the content? And of course, that is something I do pay a lot of attention to. I always am questioning like what type of people are becoming attracted to this content, and then if it's like some like super weird people, or like someone who's like really not in the right demographic I want to attract, I'm like, I have to change the content to match what's actually out there. And then if there's you know, the opposite, if there's some really you know, people who I think are more you know, aligned with the business goals and stuff that I have, then I'll lean more into that. But then it's also I mean, it's difficult because you're trying to optimize for multiple things at once. Like for example, the in the last video I put in the Hatsune Miku figure, which is kind of like a, you know, random. It's like a, you know, kid's toy type thing. And you know, I'm an adult. I'm 38 years old. So for some people, it'd be like, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? You're making these cringe YouTube videos with dolls and stuff like that. But because I know the demographic, I know that really people really liked the fact that I put that figure in there, and that if you go back and look at that video, the top comment is someone mentioning the figure. But so it's just like it's a stupid thing. So it's something that's like it's a bit cringe, but you have to like balance what is the cost benefit analysis of like you can make stuff that it's like a bit more weird and sensationalist, but as long as you don't stoop too low. I mean, the extreme where it becomes problematic is that guy. Look at all those. I don't know if you've seen those streamers who like went to Korea and they or like one went to Thailand and they were like harassing people and stuff, and now they're in jail because they're just like, those people are just out of control doing the most sensational of things to get views, but you know, it's not they're stooping way too low, and of course one of them ended up in jail, and you destroy your reputation. issues. There are 1 million people looking for a tutorial on doorknob. You never know if that will go viral tomorrow or a year from now. Maybe. I think for a video like that, it's also like for video content, the quality of the thumbnail is, and the click-through rate on the thumbnail is like extremely important. I'm thinking like some of Mr. Beast's stuff, he said that the thumbnail, it's more important than the video itself almost. And then convert them into channel members, like taking candy from a baby. Yeah, I mean, that could be a decent business model if you have enough, if you're like interesting enough. But of course, like I said, it's like if you haven't posted any videos, like you probably, like I said, you have to really like making videos, because you're going to have to make a lot of them. You probably will make like, on the order of like 100 or something before you really see any kind of traction. As scientific advancement progresses, there is potential erosion to individual liberties. We step into the matrix. Yeah, I mean, as science advances, we don't necessarily need to violate individual liberties. I don't think we can have both. Let's see. So I was planning out this weird Unicode thing. Yeah, that was, I think, the example. I think that's why earlier when I was unexpectedly surprised about those zero width characters, I think it was one of these. So there's also, so what's the other thing I'll have to fix is these other cases where I can have zero width characters. So I'll have to do the same kind of thing. What am I looking for? Looking for another $5 for the World Domination Fund. Money in the fire. Thanks for your advice. No worries. You're already an OG channel member, so don't feel obligated. Oi, what's up? Says March Viewer Singh. Tonight we are working on the block mining simulation game. So I fixed a bug where the screen was not getting updated correctly, and right now I'm just doing some review. Thinking about I think that's in Console Writer the right state. Oh yeah. So just reviewing this function here to thinking about how to make it a bit more simple. There's a correlation between increased technological capacity and increased social control. I'm on this cyberpunk vibe anyway. Yeah, I guess you could say that empirically there is, but I don't think there necessarily has to be. We can always resist. Cyberpunk renegades rise up. I commented on your latest video. How are you so well spoken? Am I well spoken? I think in my natural free-form speech, I've got lots of pauses and ums and stuff like that. For my longer script form content, I'll usually say something. Like for the video I did on immigration, I spent about 1 month working on the script for that, and including all the references and stuff in that research, and I also cut some stuff. Quite a bit of that time was actually spent figuring out how to reword stuff, to just if I had sat down and said everything I wanted to say in that video, it would have been 6 hours long. So I spent a lot of time to kind of condense it, and try to figure out a good way to just convey a complicated idea with a small number of words. Don't go to any Lowe's or USA municipality over a certain budget. AI-powered flock cameras posted everywhere. Interesting. Yeah, AI-powered flock cameras. I haven't heard about those. Is that some new thing? They're going to put in all the stores now to watch us with AI. How do I choose a career path? I just got graduated from college, Now I'm really lost what to do. I came here straight out of high school. So are you, where are you at physically right now? Are you in Canada or US? Are you an international student on, because I guess you're probably may also have constraints if you're, if you immigrated here. Toronto? Are you on I actually don't really know all the different student visas and study permits. I don't know all the different categories. International student. I guess the main thing would be figuring out what you have to do to qualify. I don't. We used to have there was you can get permanent residency if you have a certain number of points and stuff like that. Getting my work permit now. Yeah, I would say just whatever's necessary to satisfy those requirements for I don't know. Yeah, just making sure you read the fine print and learn everything you need to satisfy those requirements to stay in the country and work and stuff. Because I also know the immigration recruiters and stuff just lie completely to international students. So if you can find other people and learning French, B1 level now, it'll probably set me up for a PR. I guess if you French is really really big in Canada. I learned French immersion um, in high school, but I haven't used my French at all in adult life. But if you go to I guess if you're it depends how good you are at it. But I'm not sure. So if in case you're not aware, Quebec is extremely like patriotic about and proud about their French. So knowing French would give you a massive advantage in Quebec. But in the rest of the country, I think there are some positions like government positions and stuff where you have to be bilingual. But I guess if you're what did you study? Have you heard about the network state? It's basically a group of people from around the world that can be more connected to this internet group than the people in their immediate surroundings, a state. Heard about the network state? I guess that's kind of how the world is evolving anyway. We're all people spend a lot more time online, so they all get into internet cliques. But in my opinion, it's not quite the same thing if you're not physically in the same place as people. YouTube on mobile is really bad. The comment input box often ends up behind keyboard. Yeah, I pretty much never use it on mobile. It's actually kind of amazing how bad the streaming apps are. I studied business finance, but I'm not interested in it at all. Huh, that's rough. Yeah, not being passionate about it is probably going to get into IT. Help desk cloud. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to advise. I mean, if you got the ideal thing would be you would actually use the degree that you got, because if you got a business finance degree and then you do help desk IT, you basically wasted that time. I would say, like for getting your only a 2-year diploma, you still took time on it. I would say if the ideal thing, like what you could do, you could try to like blend those two a bit somehow. If there's somewhere you can get in, like if you can get a role, do some kind of help desk IT at a place that does business finance. That might be something to look into, like to narrow down your search and try to stand out. But I mean, IT is also very extremely crowded, though. I don't know. Like it sounds like you're not trying to get like a software engineering job or something, but so even just like help desk IT, I don't know. Some of that stuff is being automated with AI, like call center stuff. But I would imagine there's still like stuff where you have to like manually, like physically touch, debug stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I would say if you're not interested in business finance and you want to go into IT information, like you have another interest, you could maybe apply for something, try to pursue something in that role at a place that does specialize in business finance. That's the only thing I can really think of. Other than that, I mean, you could just if there are jobs in business finance. I actually don't know. I don't know anything about the job market right now. I haven't been looking for a job in years, and I also don't know what there would be on what's available in like entry level stuff. But you might just one option is just kind of like suck it up and get a business finance job doing whatever, like get a job at a bank, be a bank teller or something. If you're set on staying, just get whatever you can to survive, and then if you can stay here and survive and meet the basic criteria, then you can like work your way up, and you can study the IT stuff on the side. Maybe you can get a job at a bank as some kind of bank person, and then start doing IT at the bank. You can pivot at that place. I'll skip that one about capitalism. Where the ideal rocks for networks, etc. The ideal rocks for networks. I'm not sure. Do you think software engineering is more or less engineering than mechanical engineering or civil engineering? I think software engineering as a discipline is like, it's mechanical or civil engineering. I guess like, I think in the strict definition of, or like in the entomology, I think that's the word of civil engineering. So historically, engineering was only a military thing. So then they started, like, then they realized, like, hey, we can use these military engineers to do civil stuff, and then they became civil engineers. So it used to just be like an engineer in the military, or a civil engineer in regular society. So technically, I think mechanical engineering is a subset of civil engineering, and so it's software engineering. But I think now civil engineering has come to mean more specifically about like the building of stuff. So I think the discipline of software engineering, I don't know, kind of fits in with all the other engineerings, but it's but then in practice, if you get a software engineering job, the stuff you do is like quite unlikely to even require a certification. But if you're doing like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, you probably, the chance that you actually need like a PEng to do that job is way higher. I think so. Totally not based, I promise. Late stage psychoseismic rock networking. Sometimes the rocks are present in the EB networking. I guess. I don't know how to make sense of that. I saw both your immigration and how to get broke vids. Great work. Yeah, hopefully there's some nuggets of wisdom you can get from that to optimize your career. But yeah, I mean, if you're still young, like if you just came in, so I guess you're probably on the order of like 20 or something like that. If you're super intent on staying in Canada and meeting your requirements, you could just like suck it up and grind for get a job as a bank teller. Would a bank teller be a decent job? Would you be able to get a bank teller job with this maybe? And then from there you can, like, once you get it and satisfy the conditions, then you can try and pursue your dreams from there. Late stage capitalism, extreme capitalism, and globalism, which includes surveillance. Yeah, I mean, there's I guess there's lots I could say on that, but I'll probably save it for a give a more cohesive overview of all it. Come to Alberta, separate Canada is dead. I was looking at the polls and I was like, well, it looks like Carney's going to get in, and if once he gets in, the things are probably going to get really interesting. We'll see what happens. I was busy all day. I haven't really had time to check the news at all, but I mean, if the separatism thing ramps up, I think I saw that the bloc in Quebec did a little bit better than expected. So maybe we will see. I was watching some podcasts and some people do like financial analysis and stuff, and they said that part of the plan of the elites might be to kind of like do a test the waters on like a constitutional crisis, and then resolve it once and for all, and then we all live happily ever after, and Canada's one country, and now we're proud and patriotic and stuff. I just popped in. I'm in camp. We got over 50,000 signatures for a referendum already. We only need 600,000. Yeah, it's I think the fireworks will probably start soon. We'll see. I don't know if I don't know. I kind of think there's some more significant forces at play than just the like actual public opinion. I think some forces are molding the public opinion. So we will either the idea of separatism is going to like completely die off, or it'll like ramp up like crazy. Like it'll be a short-term thing, and then no one will talk about it at all, or it'll be. I mean, it'll be really interesting if it ramped up where Alberta's talking about leaving, and then Quebec's also talking about leaving, and then Canada's basically just Ontario, and then of course Ontario is like in the worst possible position because of the tariffs and stuff. But it's above me. I'm just gonna watch the fireworks. I visit Canada just to check what is going on there. Canada's I think one of the things that always surprises people is Canada's a huge country. Like it's and especially with the immigration we've had, like Canada is it's totally completely different. Actually, even like if you go down to near Conestoga College, it's almost like very like I don't know 80-90% people from India, and then if you go up to the University of Waterloo, it's majority Asian population, and if you go probably like out in the country, it's like majority European. So like it's like a different country everywhere, and we haven't had time to like assimilate everything. The U.S. needs to purchase Canada already. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, Trump said that he hopes Carney gets in because it'll make it easier to take over Canada, and look what happened. So, I mean, maybe that was a bluff, but I don't know. I really don't think that the last 10 years of Liberal rule have strengthened Canada that much. But I guess people assessed the situation and said, I guess we need another few more years of liberal rule. Maybe meet Robert. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could do maybe I'll have to like sell tickets to like a stand-up comedy routine or something. Have some kind of monetization thing. I've heard that's a decent way to monetize. It's just do like maybe I could do like a concert. Do something totally random. I'll have like a singing concert, and then I'll sell tickets, and I'll just sing really poorly. Election reform bill put into legislation in Alberta today. We're preparing for separation. We have more done as far as separation than Quebec ever has. Yeah, it'll be interesting. At this point, I'm just like, whatever. scenario, I hope Canada becomes 51st American state. It's quite better than Brazil. Yeah, I hope things. I hope the government, gets their head put on straight and fixes some of the problems. The countries live in is bigger than Denmark. The country I live in is bigger than Denmark. Oh, are you making a reference to my most recent video? I just checked for jobs as the bank teller. Unfortunately, I was told before there aren't many entry-level jobs. I'll try though. Yeah, I would say there's got to be some kind of, I mean, the only jobs we like, our entire economy has basically just been around real estate. So, but the thing is, real estate is going through a correction now. So maybe you could look at business finance. Actually, I mean, what's probably a growing industry now is people who process things like you know what would probably be a very growing industry. Maybe we could do this, is debt collection. Right now, because a lot of people are running out of money, a lot of people are behind on their payments, and that is going to be an exploding industry in the near future. And people are always, looking for people to squeeze money out of other people. But if things were better, I would say you could look into the real estate industry, like doing sales for condos and stuff like that. I don't know if you're I don't know what you look like physically, but if you're if you're like a well-dressed, well-put-together person, then you might, and you've got the social skills for it, then you might be able to do like working for one of these companies that sells condos and stuff like that. Like a bunch of those companies are all going bankrupt, and they're looking to sell all these underwater condos and stuff. But the growing industry would be stuff, business finance related to debt collections, people that help people who are running out of money. That's definitely going to be growing soon. Heard in Canada, engineer is technically a protected title reserved for those who officially are licensed as an engineer. So software engineers have to be called software developers instead. Yes. In I think for job titles, they just call it like software engineer. They're not too rigid about that. But I have a bachelor's of software engineering degree, so I have like the real engineering degree. Now I cannot legally call myself an engineer, and I cannot offer like engineering consulting services until so I have the degree, the accredited engineering degree, but I also need 2 years of supervised work experience under someone who has a PEng, and that is I just haven't got that. I think it has to be 2 years, but I got like 1 year of credit from doing my co-ops or something. So Robert's paid development hackathon, karaoke anime Miku convention, $50 entry fee. Yeah, so something like that. But in practice, maybe it's not a big deal, and people use software engineering anyway. I think it's specifically usually just for like a job title. They'll usually just call it software engineer, but if you use specifically the term like engineering consulting, it's more about like the context in which you use it. So anything to do with like the word engineering consulting together, they can come after you for that. And I mean, on some of my like consulting contracts and stuff, I would have clauses in there that make sure that people know, like, that I'm not a licensed engineer. So I'd explicitly say that, so if they don't come after me and be like, oh, I thought you were, if they're looking for a reason to sue me or something. Oh, our country. That country of Greenview is bigger than Denmark. Canada is huge. Check out the books. The Road to Serfdom by Hayek. And Debt the First 5,000 Years by Graeber. Very interesting reads. I'll probably forget about that, but I'll send Kali Linux losing their signing keys. I was not aware of that. That's amusing, I guess. Let's see, did I miss? Interestingly, if temperature rises in the next 50 years, Canada will get more fertile land. Yeah, so, and we're doing all this stuff to fight against climate change. It's against our own interest. I thought you receive a ring in a ceremony when you complete your engineering. Yes. There's my ring. I'm sorry, but I can't intimidate people or to collect anything. Big Seek, I am very morally aware. That's one of the reasons I don't want to go into finance institution. Thanks for the suggestion. I guess it depends. There's probably like if you could do, there's probably going to be lots of types of debt collection. Some of it, like there's like if you there's all these like shows and stuff about like debt collectors who, people that knock on your door and like, give me the money or else and stuff like that. That's one type of debt collection. But some of the debt collection stuff might be just like calling people. Like you might have a list of people, like businesses or something, and you call them, and you're like, hey, did you know you're 60 days behind or something? And like, or like you spend all day calling people and then they don't answer the phone, and then you call someone and like, oh, he doesn't live here anymore. So it's like, it's a ton of people just like trying to put you off and being like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'll pay that later. Or like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And some of it might like the actual people who go out and like pound on your door and try to intimidate you to get money. That's probably a small percentage of debt collection, but like stuff for I would imagine there's a lot of like paperwork and analysis involved in like even just like when someone goes bankrupt, their assets have to be disposed of. Like when a business fails, someone has to come in and say like when a shawarma place failed, someone's going to come in. And a lot of times what happens was the business owner just walks away. They're like, screw it. And then the bank comes in and seizes the assets to try and recoup some of the money. So someone has to physically walk in and say like, okay, there's a fryer here, there's this thing, there's these, just enumerate what are the assets, and then figure out like how to dispose of those assets. So that's one aspect of like the bankruptcy process. So you look into I don't know what that would specifically be called, but you can look up the term receivership. That's that's a key word. And so there would be a whole bunch of jobs related to the process of receivership, and receivership is definitely going to be a growing industry in the near term. Do you listen to audiobooks? Not really. I mean, I'm on YouTube quite a bit, but yeah, not too much. Read those books. Road to Serfdom, The Ultimate Form of Debt Collection is Slavery. Yeah, I mean, for that title, I can probably even like imagine some of the things that are in it, and like some of the observations I made about the real world. I can probably already guess at what's in the content of that. That slavery is common in my country. I'll give you these books as audiobooks to email. All right, I guess if I see it in my inbox, I'll probably bang debt collection. Yeah, that's only one part of the debt collection process. Some of it is like liquidating assets and stuff. So, there's a lot of work involved in that, and I don't know. It might even be like, if you want the more moral end of it, there might even be services to help people who are in debt. So if someone's stressed out and having a mental breakdown, and they're you can help. Like part of the bankruptcy one. I don't remember all the bankruptcy laws in the U.S. You can look. In the U.S., there's Chapter 11 bankruptcy and Chapter 13, I think, and one of them is debt restructuring. So when a business starts failing, sometimes you can declare it's not so being bankrupt, being in a bankrupt state is a state declared by a judge, but before you go bankrupt, you can become like insolvent, so you're having trouble meeting your debts, and then during that period, I think you can have someone like appointed by the court to try and figure out your finances. So you can get an order to stop debt collectors, and that gives you some breathing time. For example, like let's say someone is a shawarma place and they owe a bunch of money. That person could say like, hey, can you chill out for a bit? I will pay the rent. Just give me 16 days till I'm going to sell my car, or something like that. Or there's someone will come in and help and consult that person about how to avoid going bankrupt. So there's a whole bunch of services for that. I don't know all the different titles and where to go look for those, but I would say do some research about the process of receivership and stuff, and see if there's anything there that's interesting to you. But I think there's if you're interested in the moral approach to it, I think there's lots of room. There's lots of room for that kind of stuff, because if you're you can make money. You can make money being an advocate for those people, but I guess the problem though is if those people are poor, there's not a lot of money to be made out of helping poor people. How do you protect your attention span, by the way? Mine is effed up. I didn't even know where to start my last 2 years. When in Canada, always in survival mode. Protect your attention span. I don't know. It's a good question. I guess it depends what you're getting distracted with. Let's see. It already mostly is fan. History is important. It's not typically taught. My roommate did a consumer proposal. It's not quite bankruptcy, but it's similar. Kind of like what you said. Yeah, there's a whole there's lots of stuff to go into and to research on that. In my neck of the woods, government pays for services like that, for financial restructuring. You can Google that term, and there's a whole bunch of jobs around financial restructuring and stuff. Sounds like a vicious cycle. Not enough money can be made from poor people. Yeah, that's one of the issues with these renovictions. It's like the people in these buildings are so poor they can't afford legal services. But only up to like 90% of the cost. All right, it's currently 1 a.m. I think this was a very successful stream tonight. We raised $71 for the World Domination Fund. Fixed a bug in the block mining simulation game. So I think it's time to call it a night. I should rest, indeed. All right, have a good night, guys. I guess I'll probably stream. I'll probably do another one of these tomorrow. Talk to you then. Bye. What's up the renovation situation? I have some other videos that talk about that.